You can bring your voice into Audacity and make it sound 10 times better so you sound professional. I'll also show you a quick way. You can make this all automated so you don't have to do this every single time. Voice, basic, talk, edit. See that there? I saved that. Click on that. It did everything. It did all three of those things straight away for me. So if I go home, again, right now, thank you for joining me. This is a Hyping Tech podcast. Let's see how it sounds after the... So you'll notice there, why did I leave a 4 to 5 second gap? That's we called Equaliser. Now they're going to call it something silly like Filter Curve EQ. Stupid rename. Okay, so filter my voiceovers and recording and my podcasting, I use something very simple. I'm going to walk you through the process. You can see how this works and how easy it is. First up, I always do a mic test. So in Audacity, you can actually select if you have this menu here. If you don't, you can Audacity, they've changed the version. So if you upgraded and you haven't got these menus, you can simply go into View, Toolbars, and here you'll see Device Toolbar. So you probably have that. So it's View, Toolbars, Device Toolbar. So I've got that here now. I did a separate video explaining this, but it's a quick version. In here, I'm using the Vocaster 2 because we have two people speaking on this podcast. I have a co-host, and you've got your other options here, like if you're using a graphics card, a USB dongle. So here I've got video call there. So that's left and right channel for Vocaster. Just make sure your device is selected there. If you got a USB mic, your USB mic will show there. How you can test if this is right is click on this microphone here, start monitoring. See that? You can see the mic being monitored right there straight away. Nice and easy. Now, let me turn that off. Stop monitoring. And this is how it works. I click record. So you'll notice there, why did I leave a 4 to 5 second gap at the start of my podcast recording? Well, I'll explain that in a second. Right now, thank you for joining me. This is a Hyping Tech podcast, a quick episode to see how I do my recordings. How boring is that? But hopefully you find it useful. A few tips and tricks. Let's get into it. So let me play this back to you. Oh, okay. So it's playing back, but it's actually playing back via my speakers. So you'll notice here, you can actually decide where you want to play it back from. So that's something to keep in mind. If you're using this for the first time, when you play back, it might default to your computer, laptop speakers. If you have headphones in, you can select here and do my device and do play. So you'll notice there, why did I leave a 4 to 5 second gap at the start of my podcast recording? Well, I'll explain that in a second. Right now, thank you for joining me. This is a Hyping Tech podcast. Now I played that back. You should have heard that in my recording. I'm doing this live, by the way, as in one take. That's how it sounded. Make sure you have headphones on, otherwise you won't be able to tell the difference. So let me go back. I select all of it. I go Effect. I do Normalize. I do Apply. I made it as 0. And then I select the empty gap at the starting. Effect. Noise reduction, just to get rid of the background noise. Get noise profile, and then I select all. You can do select all as in Control A, or you can just double click in here and it selects all of it. If I click there, see like in an empty space, it also selects everything. So just where that says, but be careful you don't click in these like I did, like a dozy person. Now Effect and noise reduction, and then we apply. So we just do OK. So that's taking a little bit of background noise out. Then I go to the start. I get rid of that gap that I left, and then let's listen to this and see how this sounds. So you'll notice there, why did I leave a 4 to 5 second gap at the start of my podcast recording? Well, I'll explain that in a second. Right now, thank you for joining me. This is a hype. There you go. So now you should be able to hear that back. Just rewind and hear the difference. There's a little bit of a boost and it's a little bit cleaner. If you want to go a little bit more fancy, I can show you that now. However, you can go as simple as file, export as MP3, and that's it. Your episode is done. It doesn't need to be complicated. If you want to go extra pro level, let's look at that, shall we? So what do I mean by making an extra pro level? I select all of it and I can go to effects, and I'm going to do a little bit of equalization. Another thing about the new upgrade is they've changed the name of stuff. So very stupid. Audacity, stop doing this. If it isn't broken, it's like Windows 11 and Windows 10. They keep moving stuff around. Stop it, Audacity. You're being silly. Effect, and you go down. It used to be called Equaliser. Now they're going to call it something silly like Filter Curve EQ. Stupid rename. Okay, so Filter Curve EQ used to be called Equaliser. Here is where you can have a little bit of fun. So you can see you can raise levels, finding the lows and the highs, and you can adjust them. Let me zoom in a little bit so we can actually look at this in a little bit more. Okay, so Filter Curve EQ is used to be called Equalization. I don't get it. Why did they change the name? Okay, so here you can just adjust how much of a detail you want to get involved in, and you can adjust a few things. So first thing I'm going to adjust is I'm going to click here. It makes you a little dot, and then you can also adjust the lows and highs on this. So I'm going to give that a little bit of a boost there, and you can click preview. There, why did I leave a 4 to 5 second gap at the start of my podcast recording? Well, I'll explain. And that just gives you a little bit of an interest of what it sounds like. So you can play about with this to give you a little bit of a boost. So I normally like to do a little bit of just umph it up a little bit. There's nothing scientific about this basically. Do it to your voice, how your voice sounds, and then it gives you a bit more poker sounding voice. So that's that one done. I'll do apply here, then I'll select all, and then you can go effect, and you can go compressor. Now here I have a few things that look good for my voice, so let me set these at my voice, and you can make this to yours, but it gives you a bit of a boost. Let me quickly set those. So I've done a little bit of playing with my voice, and this is how it tends to sound good for me. So these numbers are probably you can start with them if you want. 30, minus 50, 51, 0.10, and then 1 second. And I'll do apply here. You'll see how that's kind of nicely sorted that voice out. So it's like an equal opportunities kind of situation. Nothing's too peaky. It's a bit more beefed up. I'll let you listen to it in a second. Then I'll normally just look through the audio and see if there's any peaks. You'll notice here, there's like a bit of a peak here. See that? That's like way higher than everything else. Something I may have just said really close to the mic. I'll normally go in and effect, amplify, just drop it down a tinsy bit, like maybe 3.2, apply. So see that's gone lower there. And then I can just select all, effect, normalize again. You don't have to do it twice, but I just got into the habit of doing it twice. I'll also show you a quick way. You can make this all automated, so you don't have to do this every single time. So normalize. Let's see how it sounds after the sorting out. Basically, that didn't take long, but I can make this all automated. So you'll notice there, why did I leave a 4 to 5 second gap at the start of my podcast recording? Well, I'll explain that in a second. Right now, thank you for joining me. This is a Hyping Tech podcast, a quick episode to see how I do my recordings. How boring is that? But hopefully you find it useful. Few tips and tricks. Let's get into it. I've muted my mic there so you don't hear my noise from this current mic. So how do we automate all of this? You've got an option for macros. Apply macro and then macro manager. So if I do macro manager, you can see here macro fade and that was an MP3. Sorry about the noise. Okay, so let's do a new macro. Let's go new. I'm going to call this my voice basic talk edit. Now what does this mean? It means you can automate everything. So first thing we're going to do is insert, and see here you've got everything that you would normally want to add in. So what did we do first? Let's click in there. What was it? EQ. So if I click E on my keyboard while I'm clicked in here, I'll go to the E's. And remember, they've changed the name of it. They don't call it equalizer anymore. They call it a filter curve. Audacity, I hate when you do this. Stop messing about with things, just trying to look like you've done something when you haven't done anything at all. Just rename the place. So filter curve, you can click in that, you can do edit, and look, that's saved in that format. So let's make that a little bit more fancy. There, apply. So now that's the first thing it will do. What did we do after that? We did a compressor. So if I go insert and then click inside here, do C, keep hitting C until it goes to compressor, do a double click on it and do OK, or you can do once click, then go there, edit, and here, remember I did minus 30, minus 50, 5.1, yeah, blah, 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 apply. So 1, 2, and then let's insert the normalize. There's only 3 steps that you really need to do, that I do anyway. You can obviously change this around. So press N, it goes to noise gate, noise reduction, normalize, OK. And then in normalize, edit, and oh no, that's the wrong edit. I was on compressor. Oh yeah, see that order. So it's the content number 2, move down. So it's 1 EQ, 2 compressor, 3 normalize. Click on normalize, edit, and I want it to be 0. Yeah, that's fine. Apply. So save, close. Now watch this. Let me get rid of this. I'm not gonna save it. Hello and thanks for joining me on this episode. I'm doing a quick recording to show you how you can automate sound effects that make it super easy. Within seconds, you can have all your effects applied as standard. Watch this. There, select all, tools, apply macro, voice basic talk edit. See that there? I saved that. Click on that. It did everything. It did all 3 of those things straight away for me. So if I go home, the only thing it didn't do was noise reduction, which I like to manually do. So I'm going to select that, effect, they haven't renamed noise reduction as well, have they? No, they haven't. So it's going to be called N, and noise reduction is here. Get noise profile, select all, effect, noise reduction, Okay, let's listen back to that and see how that sounds. Hello and thanks for joining me on this episode. I'm doing a quick recording to show you how you can automate sound effects that make it super easy. Within seconds, you can have all your effects applied as standard. Watch this. That was absolutely amazing, mate. So I've saved you literally hours. If you save that, you got a podcast episode and you've got two people speaking, you can do your effect on yours, you can do an effect on theirs, and just click on a button. If you regularly podcast, just simple, mate, simple. So thank you for watching this. I've got loads of other tips on my channel, so check it out about podcasting and all the other stuff, whatever you need to do. But if you like this, what do you need to do? You know what you need to do. You can say thanks by subscribing. See you in the next one. How do you get Audacity back to normal? This new upgrade has messed everything up. You can see I've got my screen up here. Firstly, what's going on? Why is it different? So you'll see this audio setup box that's slightly different. That didn't used to be there. I didn't used to have this share audio button. When you click inside here, you'll see that the scrollers have been incorporated inside there. The microphone used to be able to click there and start monitoring, but they've actually got little sliders here now. So one more thing, the effects have been compiled together. They made an update and 3.2.3 point whatever it is, but the newest one, if you've downloaded it, this isn't affecting everybody. So have a look at this. I've got Windows and it has affected me because everything just looks wrong. You can fix it by going view, and then you've got toolbars here. You can actually select what you want to see. So if you do device toolbar, that's my device toolbar back to normal. So you remember we used to be able to pick speakers and microphones from this drop down. That's come back. So it's simple as going into the view menu, and there's a few other options here that you can adjust. So let me go back here. Now, what else do you want? Do you want scrub toolbar? Do we want, where's the audio setup toolbar? That's I've got rid of. Now I don't need that. Didn't used to use it, so I'm putting it back to normal. As well as that, you can have a copy paste toolbar. So you know that copy and paste when you're doing work inside a thing. So hello, thank you for joining me on the Hyping Tech podcast. And here I'm doing a quick setup to show you how the microphone performs in Audacity. So we've got some test audio there that we can work with. This is a microphone plugged directly into a Vocaster. We're doing a new podcast setup, and I just downloaded Audacity, and yeah, I didn't like the new look of it. What else? Is there anything else you want me to show you? Yeah, I think it's important to show you the preferences as well. So because here the effects have been compiled together, you'll notice amplifiers in there, auto duck is there, everything's in its own little subcategory. It makes it a bit neater, but I like the straightforward everything there as it used to be. So you go file, and then you've got preferences under edit actually. So edit preferences, and that'll bring up a menu. Here we go. Now you can see here, there'll be an option where, let me show you the effects. Okay, here we go. So you go preferences, you go edit effects. No. So it's also, notice how the effect here is all compiled, like everything's in little buckets. So if I go to edit preferences, this might be different on Mac. I'm on Windows, so keep that in mind. And then here you've got effects on the left hand menu, and here you've got this option where it says default and is grouped. I don't really want it grouped, to be honest, but you can ungroup it by type, publisher, effect, sorted by type and effect, and yeah, effects enabled. So that's like another something you can look at. So you'll see everything's back to normal again now. So I've got everything in one big list, which I preferred before. I've zoomed in the screen, which is why I've got a scroller. Normally I don't have that scroller. And yes, that is back to normal. That's a quick video to help you if you're worried about this. If you're upgraded, all you want to do is get this toolbar back over here, and that affects, and that's pretty much close to where it was. Is there something else I can cover? Let me see. Yes, so hopefully that helps you just make Audacity a little bit easier. You'll notice that I do a lot of podcasting and I use this quite frequently. So check out the channel for some podcasts if you're interested in that. But overall, this is basically an update to sort you out. See you on the next video. I might do a course about how I sort my voice out and stuff. So whatever you do, normally in the box will pop up somewhere if I need a box to pop up. Thank you. See you in the next one.